Welcome to Ask Melissa Almost Anything, where we talk about your life and your body. We believe your health is your responsibility, that we believe you have a choice in your healthcare and how you spend those healthcare dollars, but most importantly, where we believe pain is not normal. I'm your host, Melissa Meiste. Today, we talk about Computer Workstation Setup 101, the basics. One of our regular clients kind of reached out to us and asked, hey, can you help me out? I'm working from home or I'm working in the office. I can't make as many adjustments as I can. I'm spending a lot of my time behind my computer. What do I need to be aware of? What adjustments can I be making in regards to how my body is functioning and working? And how do I work smarter, not harder? So what we're going to do today is we are going to do a virtual how-to. You get to kind of see more behind the scenes here at Nephew Physical Therapy. This is my office. This is my desk. We cleaned it up just for you. So just so you know, sometimes when we're doing these Ask Melissa Almost Anything, there's all kinds of extra piles here. But that's the beauty of, setting your camera angles. So this is where, if I'm not treating patients, this is where I'm working. Now, one of the things that we did, and it's been on my wish list for a long time, and I'm just going to start out with the adjustable table idea. I got this from my dad, who bought a butcher block, and there is a company here in town called Adjustables, Adjustables. We'll put the information out there a little bit later, or if you have a question, DM us. That's probably the best thing. Send us a message if you're wanting the information that we're going to talk about today in regards to adjustable legs and adjustable work surfaces. Okay, there's two options that we're actually going to show you today if you're looking to make a long-term investment. So I just want to start out with the adjustable table first, okay? So many of you have the dining room counter, you have a set desk that you work at. Some of those things are not adjustable. But what we're going to do today is we're going to show you one option in case you do want to make that investment. So this again is just a butcher block that we got at the local box store. And what we did is this whole unit goes up. So if I want to stand to work, here it comes all the way up. I can work standing. If I want to, however, I need to give my back a rest or my feet a rest, I can bring it again all the way back down to a height that works best for me. And so therefore, this investment gives me the options to do both. Now, granted, this total investment is probably $600 to $700 because the legs themselves are around $400, maybe $450. I can't quite remember. And then, you're buying a butcher block, whatever table you want. We wanted a larger surface because I'm sharing this workspace with Rachel. So we each have our computers sitting here, but we have plenty of room to work. Computer monitors can sit here, and then plenty of workspace. So it's just a practical suggestion in regards to that. But that investment, that money that we put into this, is giving us lots of flexibility. And one of the things that we talk about regularly in therapy is you just need to not sit all day. Admittedly, when I'm behind the computer and I'm working on a project, it's amazing how 2-3 hours can fly by. And unless I am intentionally getting up to refill my coffee cup, or get more water, or go to the bathroom, or go touch base with Rhonda at the front desk, I can sit here for hours. And as you sit for hours, this is what happens. Because remember, gravity will always win. It's always going to pull you down. And so the first tip, really, which I'm not great at, but with the fancy watches and all those other things, is that reminder to get up and move. And that's fill your water bottle, go to the bathroom, take a lap around the house or around the office, move. You should be doing that every 30 to 60 minutes because you need to increase that circulation. And depending on what ailments you might struggle with, whether that's neck or shoulder, back, knees, or ankles, you might want to then, in that short break, do some of the things we're going to talk about next week in regards to some simple muscle activation, joint range of motion, right? If you have a stiff ankle, moving that, all those kind of things. All right. So the first thing is you do need to move regularly. Do as I say, not always as I do, in regards to taking a break. So, what I'm going to go through today is this little workstation setup. If you're interested in getting a copy of this, again, send us a personal message. Include your email address with that, your name too, just so we know who we're talking to. And let us know, and we will email you this PDF. And you can use this too as a checklist. So what we've done in our little checklist is we've come at it from two directions. One is, where should my body be in relationship to my computer? The other side is, where should my computer be in relationship to my body? It's the same information, it just gives you two different ways to look at solving the problem. So I'll start it with the body. So because I have an adjustable table, I'm going to make most of my adjustments here. If I didn't have an adjustable table, I would make my adjustments with my chair. Now, ideally, when we start with this list, and I'm going to move myself back up so I don't feel like I'm sitting on the floor, the first thing is when you are sitting, you want your feet flat on the floor, okay? So because I have an adjustable desk and I have an adjustable chair, it's pretty easy for me to do that. Some of you shorter individuals, feet may not rest on the floor if we in fact move to the knees and the hips, which should be at about 90 degrees. If you cannot rest your feet comfortably on the floor, this is where a small box, a couple of boards, something like that that supports your feet. Because as Rachel's about to move the camera down here, if my feet don't rest on the floor and I go too high, I'm going to angle down like this. And what can happen is that we're going to get some compression in the back of the knees, which may tie into sciatica or other issues, and it's going to affect my posture further up the chain. So no matter how tall or short you are, adjust your chair, hips and knees at 90 degrees, but make sure those feet are flat and comfortable. If not, again, you're going to put something underneath them to provide that artificial lift because you can't raise the floor. So feet flat, knees comfortably bent at 90 degrees, and like we said, don't let there be any compression in the back of the thigh. That will irritate that sciatic nerve that we talked about last week, and you want to make sure that you are symptom-free in regards to your nerves. When we get to the hips, now this goes into some bad habits. I'm going to tell you a quick story of sitting horribly as I was a young adult, working summers between college, where I foolishly moved my computer monitor sideways and proceeded, which of course my table should be higher to demonstrate this. Give me just a minute, right? Again, adjustability. But I tucked my knee under my leg, had my keyboard like this, and stared like I'm looking at you for 2 days straight. To say that my neck didn't move was an understatement. And at 19 or 20 years old, who knew your neck could get so stuck? Well, because one, I was not sitting level on my butt, okay? So I made my foundation crooked. I put all my weight onto that right hip, and I sat crooked, tucking my leg under. Don't do that. Sit. See how I can't even, I can't cross my legs underneath my desk if my desk is at the right height. So my my hips are at 90 degrees. I'm sitting back in my chair. Notice how I'm naturally just adjusting to that position as I got out of that awkward position. And you want to avoid crossing your legs, partially because of circulation, if we cross our legs too much. The other is it will, again, make us cattywampus, crooked, leaning, tilting, which doesn't just affect the hips. As I roll here, then my neck gets tighter on this side, right? I have to compensate further up the chain. So nice and level. Now, depending on what kind of chair you're sitting in, you may in fact want some more lumbar support. A lot of us in our vehicles have that little button we get to push where it's going to push us forward. What we recommend is you can take a bath towel and you can roll that up and you just set it right through that low back. When we put a little support here, I will just use my hands as the example. As I push forward, it causes me to go upright. No support, I push that up and forward. I'm definitely putting my ears over my shoulders a lot better. So if you struggle with having the strength and the flexibility to be upright, these are some of the modifications we can make. So when we get to that low back, if you're struggling, you could just use a towel to provide a little extra support. Again, if you're joining us, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can always DM us at any time in case you're watching this after the live recording. But we are here to help and answer your questions and give you tips today, again, to allow you to make some modifications in regards to your computer workstation setup. Then we get into the upper body. So now we're talking neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands. Okay? And one of the challenges, of course, is when we're talking about people who sit in front of a computer all day, is we are at much greater risk for things like carpal tunnel, neck pain, tension in those shoulders, Tennis elbow even can show up if we're sitting at our desk too long, nerve compression, all of those things. And so it's why it's so important that we start out with a good level foundation in our hips and in our knees. As we get here, we need that towel to support. Now I'm upright, okay? And like I've previously mentioned, next week we'll be talking more about the specifics of the postural exercises that we'll be recommending, because proper posture is always more than just sitting up straight. Ideally, yes, I am going to be sitting like this, straight on my computer, okay, looking straight forward, not spending my day looking sideways, because that's going to irritate my neck. But we want all of those things positioned well. So if I'm going to be positioned well in my chair, one, I want to make sure that my chair, which may have some adjustability here, which is where, again, it is worth investing sometimes in some good equipment rather than just the kitchen chair. If you're working at home, many companies offer some options like this. We've picked up office furniture at the Hayworth outlet store. So sometimes I'm just mentioning that to our local viewers here in Holland, because I think both Herman Miller and Hayworth have outlet stores that offer high quality office furniture but at reduced pricing. So if you're looking to make an investment in a good chair, that's also very much worth it. So I want to make sure that my elbows are supported, but not so that they're supported up here. Or if they're too low, see how I'm getting no support. And so now I'm actually either shrugging down or I'm tugging and pulling through there. So I want to find that spot where, that's too high, they're equal, and that they're comfortably resting, okay? So we've got my neck slightly back, again, not slouching forward. Let me add this. For those of you who wear bifocals, I don't. I just wear readers. And so you'll notice me wear them a lot, because if I can't see that well enough at this point. If you have bifocals, I understand that this actually could be a very different scenario for you, and you may need to break the rules in regards to where your monitor is set up, okay? Because this isn't so good if you had to look down below all day, and so you're going to need to figure out what line of sight looks for you. If you don't need readers or don't wear glasses, basically we want to have your computer monitor just below eye line, okay? But you, if you're wearing glasses, may need to make some extra adjustments, so just keep that in mind. Shoulders then should be relaxed. We know they're relaxed because we're resting on that arm support. And even better is my shoulders are slightly pulled back, if I can hold that. We've talked about this in some of our neck videos and shoulder videos, is really when our shoulder blades are pulled back and engaged, there's actually significantly less tension here through the muscles that we often think that are sore and tight and carry all our tension. So if you can, you're slightly pulling those shoulder blades back to allow for your head to be better supported. Then we come down to the hands. Now this is where, again, it depends on where your body compensates. So we're talking about things in generalities today, but some of you who've had carpal tunnel, as a therapist, I always ask, is it carpal tunnel or is it because your neck is so bad? Those are things we keep in mind. However, I want to make sure that I can, again, comfortably do my job. Now, this is here, but if I'm typing, it's going to be like this. For me, and for any of you, is we don't want you to rest all your weight right here on your wrists, okay? This is where the carpal tunnel basically is where your median nerve runs through that wrist. There is a little ligament that goes across the top, and it creates a tunnel. The back side of that is all the little carpal bones, the 8 little bones of your wrist. And, excuse me, so when you're like this, I'm compressing that in that position. So repetitive long-term compression on that wrist shows up as numbness and tingling through the hands and the fingers. What I'm saying, though, as the physical therapist, is that some of that nerve compression actually may be starting in the neck. And so whenever we evaluate and treat somebody with carpal tunnel, wrist issues, or even tennis elbow, we want to make sure that is that nerve where it really originates from the spine. Is it getting compressed up here? Is it getting compressed here? Is it getting compressed here? So neutral wrists is what we're going for. Not fully extended, not fully flexed. So if you can, you're holding that position here. But we don't want to hold that through the neck, okay? So lots of things to think about, which is, again, why we're advocating for giving you this checklist. I also want to add that whenever we're teaching, if it's to our clients in physical therapy, if it's teaching an educational course in your company on this kind of stuff, or it's just one-on-one like we're doing now through Facebook. This is, as it says at the top, optimal positioning. So since none of us live in a vacuum and nothing is perfectly made for any particular body, there are going to be some things that have to be compromised. Everything is going to require compromise. So because of that, you may be more conscientious about your back position because you have low back pain. You may be more conscientious about your neck position because you have neck issues. So you may have to do a little give and take in regards to the list, but do what's best for your body and trying to take off the least amount of pressure and the least amount of stress where your body naturally breaks down. I have to be extra careful about my neck. I've mentioned this many times before. 7 years ago, developed horrible neck pain, really tight, severe bulging disc in my neck. And as I always remind everybody, prayer and physical therapy works. But I have to be extra careful, and my body will let me know because I'll either get shoulder blade pain, my thumb will go numb, or I'll get tennis elbow. And that is my body's way of saying, Melissa, get up and move and stop sitting here for hours on end. All right? That's what I'm most concerned about with my body. So to review again, shoulders are relaxed at your side, elbows are at your side. When it comes to the wrists, neither full extension. Please don't type like this, right? I try as best as I can. I actually can tolerate resting my forearms here. I want that a little farther away because then that's what's comfortable for me when I'm typing and working, okay? And of course I keep bumping and it keeps beeping at me in my computer. I can work like this fairly comfortably, okay? But that's different for everyone. When we flip over the sheet, now we talk about, can we make any adjustments to the monitor and or your devices? Now, one of the nice things is when we talk about the keyboard and a mouse, many of them are wireless now. Welcome to 2020. And we don't have those cords, and we're not limited by, I can't move it over here, I can't move it over there. So, having that flexibility of a device that allows you to move, right? I can put my mouse where I want. The mouse, however, as I've had many patients tell me, this starts to happen. I'm sure nobody in your office does this. I'm sure nobody, except for I've walked through many offices, and this is exactly, I'm here, I'm clicking away, I'm, doing my work, I'm looking at my email, right? Because I'm tired. Friends, this is horrible. This is just going to hurt everything. So, the other thing, right, as I adjust myself again, because that's not going to, is this, or that this mouse is too far out here. What a lot of people have to keep in mind is that they're looking at something and typing. Your paper's here. I'm telling you that will create neck problems all day. So you need to play around with how it's set up. Yes, there are things that you can set it up on. I definitely warn you against looking too much to one side. When I have the deep desk here, so I can set something that I need to look at straight in front of me. So whenever you can work straight in front of you, that's going to be your best scenario because you're in neutral. This is the middle, right? I'm not forcing my neck into full rotation or side bending or any of that kind of stuff. So this, I could look at that and go back and forth between my monitor, get some work, do my mouse, and I'm working in a box. So one of the other things to keep in mind, and this applies really to any profession, if you're cooking in the kitchen, if you're working on a line, we primarily work in a box. Okay, because if our elbows are at our side, our shoulders are relaxed, we're not at end range where we're pinching. I kind of want to work here. This is kind of, the easy zone. Out here causes a lot more stress and strain. So as long as I'm kind of working in this zone, great. As soon as I start to get out of that, I start to lose the strength and stability of my core. For the record, I believe the core is the butt, gut, hamstrings, and shoulder blades. Okay, think about that. Butt, gut, hamstrings, shoulder blades. I need everything from here to my booty and then some working to hold me in place comfortably so that things, again, don't get overused, break down, give me pain, strains, nerve issues, the list goes on. So, we've talked about mouse, keyboard, we've talked about the chair, the adjustability of the chair. If you have a lumbar support, use that, adjusting here, adjusting up and down. The last thing is going to be your monitor location. Now, I am actually not opposed to MacGyvering, is that a word, is that a verb, your monitor's position. Some of you who are extra tall may need your monitor taller. We have in the past, Rachel, you want to show them your computer workstation? She needs a little bit higher than I do, so we're using some old textbooks. Those old textbooks that, don't have a purpose except for to hold things higher. And of course, I want to make sure that my base is stable because nobody wants their monitor to fall over, crash, and have to buy a new one. So if you're handy enough, you can build a wooden platform or base. There are also, again, devices that clip onto your desk and you can raise and lower them with an arm. You can make so many adjustments as needed to your body. It just depends on how much money you want to invest. But you want to make sure that your monitor height is just slightly below. We recommend about 15 degrees, which is not very much. So I'm sitting up straight, I can slightly look down, and that feels okay. That feels comfortable. My monitor height is good, okay? I can make some adjustments if I'm struggling. Do I want my table higher? Do I want it lower? And of course, I'm sharing a workstation with Rachel. So while we're similar in height, we're still not the exact same body as what we talked about before. When we're looking at these things, what's ideal for her may not be totally ideal for me. But if I can get 80 to 90% of the way, I am eliminating 80 to 90% of the aches and pains that could happen. All right? So that monitor, make sure that that monitor is high enough. I've seen some people's workstation where they have smaller monitors. They're looking 30 degrees or more down. That will cause a lot more stress and strain on your neck and increase your likelihood of developing a bulging disc. Prolonged flexion will irritate your discs. All right? So I would say more times than not, people's monitors are too low than they are too high. Also not great though, if you've ever been to somebody's house where they put their TV too high on the wall, you also know that because you're like this. That doesn't feel good either. I don't want to do this for hours on end. So in the middle, there is a level that is comfortable, and that's just slightly below. If I look straight forward, I'm at the top of my monitor. I go slightly down, perfect, right? That works for me. And of course, depending on your vision, your monitor is closer or farther away. I am finding that even with readers, I like it farther away. It's like the hymnal. Does anybody sing out of a hymnal anymore? You can always tell somebody needs glasses because they're doing this. Or their Bible, like my brother-in-law the other week who needed to borrow my girly glasses. Anyway, I digress. Funny story. So those are those simple basics. Like I said, send us a DM with your email address. We will send you out this PDF, which gives you a checklist of how to adjust your monitor, keyboard, chair, table. The other side of it talks about optimal positioning for all the different joints of your body. Neck, back, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, knees, feet. You want to keep all that in mind. Again, our goal is not perfection. We talk about optimal, but nothing will work perfectly for anybody. So the objective is 80 to 90% of everything where it works best for you, keeping in mind where your particular breakdown is in your body, where your previous aches, pains, strains have been. If you've had surgery, there's a lot of things to keep in mind, but these are the basics. Of course, when we see somebody in physical therapy who has wrist issues, neck issues, back issues, we're treating that. But know that education is a huge part of what we are and who we are. We are teachers, which is why we're talking about this today, because the more I can teach you about your body, the better you take care of it. As you remember at the beginning, we always say, we talk about your life and your body, where we believe your health is your responsibility. And that third statement, which is you have a choice in where you spend your health care dollars. You need to choose how you're going to do that stuff proactively. The more proactive we can be, it's often harder, though, to convince ourselves to spend money on prevention than it is on sickness. But we like to remind you that your body is an investment, not an expense. Is it worth $400 to $600 to get a table set up that's adjustable? Or is it worth doing a lot more than that to have neck surgery or elbow surgery or have to come to therapy? Again, we will always be here when you need us for your carpal tunnel, your neck pain, your back pain. But wouldn't it be better if you can prevent that stuff from breaking down? If you can avoid that bulging disc in your neck? If you can avoid your hands numb and tingling because of carpal tunnel? That's what we're focusing on. So what do they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Keep that in mind. That's what this is about. This is about prevention. This is about being proactive, not reactive. We live in a crazy year of 2020, and I feel like every week all I am doing is reacting to a government order or something that's happened at my kid's school, or, I mean, the list is long, right? 2020, if I were to change my word of the year, which was create, it's really been react. And how do we react to things that are completely out of our control? What I'm saying today, though, is there is still a lot of things that we have in regards to how we take care of our body and how we take care of our health. That is within my realm of influence. That is within my realm of control, and the fact that I can decide how long I'm going to stay here. I can decide what my posture is going to look like. I might have to spend some money. I might have to make some investment, just like I bought a brand new pair of shoes the other week because I was not investing in foot care very well and my feet were hurting. These are things that are worth spending money on. Lastly, we're about to take a walk through Nephew. I want to show you one of the best investments that we made with our team. So follow me here. We're going to go say hi to Rhonda, as we're nice and close here. So one of the things we have noticed here is that if you work as a receptionist, a secretary, whatever, you're often anchored to the front desk, right? You've got to answer the phones, you have to greet your clients, you have to do all of those things. And one of the things we have done intentionally over the years is actually our front desk helps check laundry and do some cleaning and doing that kind of stuff. But one of the things we've done with Rhonda to make sure she's taking care of her body, right? Because Rhonda takes hurt.
Yes.
And we hate it, right? I'm like, Rhonda, go lay on a foam roller. Rhonda, move around. Rhonda takes a walk around the pond because she's here. She is anchored to this. So when she's sitting, right, have a seat, Rhonda, so we can show. Right, so this is Rhonda's workstation. Now, we're about to show you an investment that we made, and we love this toy so much. It's so great. Otherwise, Rhonda's here, right? She has the adjustable chair. Notice Rhonda does not like armrests.
No.
She doesn't, okay? I like the armrest, she doesn't. So she does not have armrest, but that was an intentional decision by her based on her comfort level. And so one thing that we did before we bought this handy dandy thing that I'm going to tell you about, we did purchase, and again, I mentioned the Hayworth Outlet Store.
Correct.
We found there's these trays that you can attach to the bottom of your desk. Let me show you. We used to have a computer here, Rachel. Let me show you real quick. So this pulls out and can adjust up and down. How much was it, Rhonda?
I want to say $12 or $15.
Yeah, like less than 20 bucks.
They were brand new.
And it's mounted to the bottom, right? So we have the adjustability here, even if you're stuck with a stationary, non-adjustable workstation, okay? So this is probably one of the most cost-effective, frugal things that you can do, and you can set then your mouse and your keyboard here. And it hides the way you need it. What we've done for Rhonda, because of, again, variety of positioning. So Rhonda, why don't you show them? We bought this, again, from the company Adjustable Surfaces. I think that's the name of the company. And so what Rhonda's going to do here is there's these two levers on either side. And it just raises up easily. And the whole workstation comes up. And so she can adjust this as high or as low as she wants to. She's like, oh, that's too high, right? Vary that position. She has a huge work surface, right? And that's one of the great things. Because, again, we were talking back at my desk is when you are typing and you look at the computer, where do you set, right? She's looking at reports, she's entering data, she's looking at the schedule, she's done all that stuff. She has this whole workstation that includes where she gets rid of the credit card, room for the mouse, the keyboard, all of that stuff. So Rhonda, how has bringing this device changed
Everything?
How has it changed your life?
A lot. For one, I can stand up and look at our clients and talk to them eye to eye versus them having to lean down or lean forward or whatever. It also gives me the ability to stand up and ditch my chair, and makes me feel better in my back, my low back especially, and my neck, because I don't feel like I'm crunching over. It just makes me stand up nice and straight.
And because of the flexibility of this, right, it's just two levers up and down, and if she is sharing this job with somebody else, like we talked about in the back, Rachel and I share a table, if we have somebody else on the team who needs this, that's shorter or taller, there is the flexibility. You are not committed to this counter height or this counter height. right? These, our workstation this is built. So in this device, there was two options, by the way. This is the smaller of the two, if you can believe that. They actually have them that are even wider. But this just sits on our corner, because there's a corner, and so it really fits very, very nicely. It's huge. It's very stable, though. That's what I love about it, because I'm not worried about this monitor crashing and burning. But I like, Ron, that you really mentioned how it really helps with contact, right?
Right.
People at eye level.
Especially new patients, when there's lots of things to do in conversations, it just is nicer to stand up and converse with them versus being seated or awkwardly crouching.
So that's where, and this is, again, about a $400 investment. But remember, it's an investment, not an expense. And this then, for options, up and down, Rhonda to better take care of her body. Employers, if you're watching this and you're worried about work comp injuries, right, especially for people who are sitting for long, this investment makes a huge difference.
And for your wrist.
And for her wrist. How do you notice that it's different with your wrist?
Because I'm standing like this versus having to reach or have it at an awkward angle. It just makes it feel better.
Perfect. So those things are so important. So we'll let Rhonda get back to work here, right? Because she loves being on camera. I'm just kidding. So what we talked about today, again, I will review. If you are interested in your workstation setup and things to consider when it comes to keeping your body healthy, DM us your email address. We will send that out to you in a PDF. We will also subsequently share a link here that shows you the devices that we have gotten. You can find them online. Again, this is a local company here in Holland, Michigan that we'd like to support. And you can make an investment either in adjustable legs if you want a large work surface like Rachel and I share, or if you want one of these kind of adjustable workstations. Again, the internet is filled with all kinds of options, but we have found a local company that we really like. We love the product. We're happy to endorse it. We're not getting paid to endorse it. But these are those things when we talk about how do we take better care of our body? How do we proactively prevent aches and pains? As employers, we want to make sure that we have healthy employees, right? Healthy team members, take good care of their body, because wouldn't I be a hypocrite as a physical therapist if I could take care of you, but I wasn't taking care of everybody else? And granted, these things have been, because we operate our business debt-free, we're not borrowing money or putting this stuff on a credit card. We are making these investments over time. We've bought adjustable tables for a physical therapist. We've bought adjustable work surfaces. We're getting other pieces of equipment. Slowly but steady, we're working towards optimal, right? Better function of our body, taking better care of ourselves. So thank you, everybody. I hope this was super helpful. And again, keep in mind, if you're not somebody that works at a computer all day, but you're on your phone or your tablet or any other device, laptop, these tips apply to you as well. Yes, you may not have a big fancy workstation with a big monitor and the keyboard and all that stuff, but you also are at risk for developing horrible posture, aches and pains in those situations. So remember, pain in the workplace, pain at your computer, pain with your phone is not normal. Make sure you're doing something about it.